Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you tuning in today, we welcome you in. As is my wont, I was perusing the news today, and a story broke across my screen that, quite frankly, shocked me. There's a condominium being sold on Bay Street in Toronto. Actually, no, it has been sold, and the new owners have decided to put the condo fees up by 113%. That's right, your condo fees are doubled. Now, Bay Street is not a cheap area to begin with, so literally this would be catastrophic for the people who live there and who work there. See, a condominium, as understood under North American legal practice, is a unit held by individual people, which can be for commercial or residential units. So this would be a condo, 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 all owned by different people. Thank you to my 9-year-old for providing the prop. Legally, this makes a lot of sense. It's a shared pool of a bunch of like-minded people who all want to live at the same area and who individually couldn't afford it. But then the issue comes down to maintenance. See, when you're the sole proprietor of a house or whatever it is, you are responsible for all the maintenance. When you're in an apartment or a similar structure, the landlord picks up all the maintenance. But in a condo, everything is run by the board, which means there's a group of people who decide how much the condominium fee is going to be. And this is actually one of the biggest problems for the longest time. Now, condominiums need a lot of work. Over time, balconies start to give way. Um, Grounds need maintenance. You have to pay somebody to be shoveling the snow and mowing the lawns or whatever they have outside and taking care of all that stuff. And it isn't cheap. There's the gas, the electric, the hydro, which may or may not be shared. And there's a lot of money being put into running these particular condominiums. And in a place like Bay Street, the maintenance is admittedly more expensive because to get any sort of work crew in, you have to shut the place down, you have to get all sorts of permits, and it would be a living nightmare. But the thing is, this is a fairly new condominium. And I don't want to name it. There's an article on CTV if you want to look it up. Just type Condo 113 and you'll pretty much get it right off your first search. The troubling part to condominiums is that condo fee can go up at a moment's notice. It's not like rent where there's rent control. It's not like a mortgage where the government has successfully regulated it for a long time. Condo fees are pretty much what the condominium board decides. When Silverlight was looking for a place to feather his nest, I looked at condos. And what I decided is I didn't want to pay a mortgage on top of my mortgage. As the time has gone on, this has been very wise advice that I took from myself. Because the condo fees for a few places weren't bad, but a few of them were pretty extreme. And also, in my little nest here, I can nail something up against the wall and nobody can say anything to me. In a condo, you have to go for permission in front of the board, the same board that approves of price increases, and yeah, you're at their whim. So why would a downtown condominium suddenly need a 113% rent increase after one of the biggest economic disasters that the company has ever seen? Well, the number one reason, as always, is greed. There's another force at play behind the scenes. You see, a lot of time these condominiums are sold, and the company that is selling underreports the condominium fees that they're charging. They say, yeah, we make everything run off $200 a month per tenant, per space, per whatever. And then the incoming company realizes, oh no, we can't we can't possibly afford this. We got to jack up the rates. That's somewhat sympathetic. I mean, you'd have to go through legal disputes to settle the matter, and that would require you to raise condo fees again to settle it. But another nasty little fact is for the past couple of years, they haven't been able to raise condo fees. So this is kind of a big money grab from the tenants inside the condo. Overnight, they've literally doubled what is going directly to the board. Now, most boards do pay an honorarium for the people on the board. And that's why I always get suspicious. I've heard of so many stories. I mean, go on Reddit. They have a couple subreddits that are just dedicated to condos and property ownership and stuff like that. And it is atrocious what people do. One of my friends bought a condo, and they served him with a hefty condo price increase, and they claimed that they had planted a forest. Well, he'd been there for a couple of years, and there wasn't a bloody new tree on the entire place. But they were literally lying to the government just so they could justify boosting their condo fees. Condos are this weird legal gray area, and it's not pleasant, it's not right, but it's something that really needs to be addressed. Now, the business people, because downtown Toronto, it's a common practice that the main level units in a condo are going to be business. There'll be a variety store, there'll be a sandwich shop, coffee shop, dry cleaner, whatever you have. Because it's easy frontage where you can get people's attention as they drive or walk by, and you don't have to pay for the price of a standalone unit. Overall, it's a good business decision. But these businesses that have probably not been doing well during the pandemic are all of a sudden having to rush and find double the money that they used to. Like, that's simply not possible. One of the nice things that Gordon Ramsay and Robert Irvine do is they split labor costs up. They split a business costs up three ways. 1/3 are your costs, how much it costs you to get that on the table. 1/3 is your labor. So whatever you need to pay for a driver, a cashier, whatever it might be. The remaining third is your profit. Well, if one of your costs just went up 110%, even if it only represents part of that 1/3 costs, it takes away from the rest of your pie, including your profit. This price increase will not be alone. Inflation is supposed to be going up. They've already said, remember before I was talking about it being at 4%? Now they're talking about going 5% and above, and it's not going to end anytime soon. Groceries, they're announcing that too. Those are going to go up. So what business are you opening that you can have in downtown Toronto, or indeed any downtown, where you can accommodate a 110% or even just a 50% increase in one of your basic expenses? Any of them. Condo fees, the materials that you need to do your job, because it's all going up. People are complaining because minimum wage is going to $15 an hour. But the fact is, none of these charges is going down. The people who work hard to live in that condo as tenants, as people who physically live, sleep, shower, and shave there, they are also suffering under that. I mean, if you were getting by before, but, living off craft dinner and slices of processed cheese, now you can't afford that. Where are you going to go? And can you sell a condo where the condo fee has just gone up by double? Because think about it. When you go to invest in real estate or purchase real estate, it shows you condo price, roughly equivalent to the house price, and then the condo fee next to it. Those condo fees, wow, they do not come cheap. I will tell you that. But there's no real way to appeal a condo fee increase. Rent increase, yes, there's ways that you can appeal it. A mortgage, there's ways you can appeal it. You can go to a different bank, you can apply for all sorts of subsidies. That's taken care of. But condo owners, you're out in the cold. I can honestly not think of a reason to own a condominium, aside from certain niche luxury treats. Like a buddy of mine owns one on the lake, and once a year he invites everybody over and we watch the air show. Nice perk for him, but for the rest of the year, it's bloody cold. During the summer, it's nice, but in Toronto temperatures, that shorefront property gets that beautiful lake effect wind coming right at it. We never got into a conversation about heat, and I don't want to know, quite frankly, because my own heat is expensive enough, and he's getting the blast right off the lake. But these are all things people don't consider. We only have 3 real ways of housing people in this country. And of the 3, condominiums are the most vulnerable. It's time we start figuring out some protections for the people involved. Because there's nothing to stop them from increasing them by 1,000%, much less 113. What they say goes. And yes, you can go down to the condo board, you can go to one of their meetings, which will probably be scheduled at an inconvenient time, and you can hope to fight it that way. Or you can take it up, legally, which involves more money. So while you're paying the increase, you got to pay even more money on top to appeal the increase. Realistically, there's only 2 ways to deal with property, and that's rentals and mortgages. Period. The end. Condos are just a bad deal for everybody. Yes, you can move it on up to the east side, have a big old apartment in the sky. That's nice and beautiful until you have a pandemic where you're stuck in it for months at a time, or your condo advisory board suddenly decides that they're not getting enough of a retainer. They've had to come up with some expense that they don't want to show you, and they jack up your prices. It's just beyond insane. And the sad part is, this is not going to be isolated. This is an outlier, yes. Under 13% is unusual. But the difference is, if you have a mortgage, when you're done paying your mortgage, you're done paying it. You don't have to keep paying it every month. Sure, you're going to wind up with expenses and things that need to be fixed, but you can schedule for that. You can get insurance for that. There's ways around it. For a condo, it's whatever they decide. And quite often, you'll find that the contracts to repair things are given to a friend of a friend type people. Not saying that individual apartments don't do that, but at least they have to declare their expenses in front of the garden. Condos are really one of the worst things possible. And maybe that's something we should do a deep dive into for another episode. But anyways, if you're looking at property, by God's grace, well, obviously people are looking at property because property prices are going up. I would tell you to stay away from a condo. Yes, as a homeowner, it would be nice for me to pick up the phone and call somebody, have all my problems solved, which I kind of do, but that's just simply the way that I do business. But for a condo, you're paying for that price, and everything you charge to the building is going to get charged back to you. In a way, it's like insurance. You are insured, but at the same token, that's all going to get charged back to you. Even though it's spread over, 100, 1,000, however many people are in there, the charge ultimately goes back to you. If you have a chance, the next couple days, just go look at the MLS. Look at houses and condos, and you'll see the prices are pretty similar. If anything, the houses are a bit cheaper, and then for condos, you're paying a fee. Well, that's fantastic, but imagine in 10, 20 years when the condo's getting up there, they're going to have to increase that, and maybe 113% isn't that far off the average for an older building. This isn't an older building we're talking about. This is a pretty new building, which is why it's shocking. But if you have to replace balconies, if you have to go in and redo the fire system, which is all things that need to be done, unless you have a very forward-thinking board and they've been budgeting and putting money away for it the whole time, you're going to be on the hook for everything. Life You always wind up having to pay something. What I'm saying is avoid condos so that you don't have to be paying such ridiculous increases. And all increases happen. Yes, a mortgage does go away, but the price of maintaining a house does go up. Uh, an apartment, the rent on it is going to go up over time. There's nothing that's ever going to stop it. That's just simply the way it is. But the best way to control your prices is to not buy condos. Let's start forcing the prices of these things down again. Yes, real estate right now is hot. Everybody is buying it. The prices of things are absolutely insane. But the one thing we can do as a consumer, boycott. And if we stay away from condos, people are going to realize, oh, this is a bad business deal. Unless you're one of the super rich, by which I mean making, $500,000 to $1 million, which is not really super rich. Let's just call that rich. And you can write those expenses off. Chances are it's not right for you. And in that case, run. Don't walk away. That's the laundry telling me my time is up. We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Silverlight Show. If you did, please hit like, share, and subscribe. And we hope you have a fantastic day.